Your mental health is very, very, very important. And never try to make what you're building your identity. It's not. It's a part of you, but it's not your everything. It's not your core. And I said this in the last episode, where in my therapy sessions, what made me very comfortable, and actually what made, I believe, the business expand, was when I no longer identified myself, Jeff the person, with Gentleman's Factory. Because before I was like putting all of this pressure, and I'm like, yes, this is me. And give me a countdown.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, everybody, to I think we're episode 3 of my entrepreneurial journey. And I think I said a whole lot in episode 1 and 2. I hope I didn't get canceled or anything like that. No, let me stop. But again, there's a lot of really interesting things about the entrepreneurship journey. And I think that, there's just too many, false narratives out there that, all you have to do is this and all you have to do is that. And, no, man, it's difficult, but it's beautiful. But anything that you put time and effort into eventually will produce. But enjoy the process. So, tip number 5. What I want to discuss is faith. And tip number 5 is develop a close relationship with God, because you are going to need a strong spiritual foundation, because you are going into waters that you've never entered into before, and your faith needs to be strong. Yes. And I want to expound a bit more on that. So I grew up in a very Haitian Christian church growing up. And in that, of course, my faith has evolved, and, I'm still a believer. But in that, though, my faith also has been questioned and tested throughout this whole process and throughout this whole journey. And there's this scripture that says that if you build your house on a rock, it shall stand. And when the wind blows and the storm arises, it's going to stand because it's founded on a rock. But if you found your foundation on sand, when the wind blows, storm arises, you're going to be washed away. Now, I'm telling you, the amount of storms that I had over these 5 years, oh Lord, oh man, whew. I loved it though. I loved it because it really made me strong, so much stronger. I remember a good friend of mine, he told me, he said, Jeff, if you were to have gone into entrepreneurship, and if everything would have been so great, and then you would have just been sailing and raising millions and millions, tens of hundreds of millions of dollars in capital, and you never would have been through anything. So at the top of the climb, and then you would have went through something horrific, you probably would have killed yourself. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, because where would you have had the endurance? Or where would you have ever failed? And I said, damn, man, okay, maybe killing myself was just a bit too extreme, but I understood what he was trying to say from the sense of that your trials and your tribulations make it stronger, make you stronger. And I'm not saying that, you always have to go through these trials and tribulations, etc. But at the same time, though, what I've been through, it was difficult. And, like I shared this in episode 2, with the fact that I couldn't pay the rent, or I couldn't pay myself, or, my car was repossessed. Oh, I don't think I said that in the last episode. Yes, my car was repossessed. All of these things. And it's beautiful. And I really appreciate the full process because of the fact that now when I look at it, I'm like, oh, wow, like, I'm not going to tell you all our business now, but, we're 7 figures, plus annually and above and beyond. And we're really at a really good point in a really good groove, right? But, when and I'll talk about this in another episode, but like oftentimes like on Instagram and Twitter and all of these things, and there's just so much false narratives about this entrepreneurship journey where anytime that you see someone that says, all you have to do is, nah, bro, nah. Anytime someone says, oh, wait, what? Yeah, that's easy. All you have to do, nah, I don't want to hear anybody that tells me all I have to do is, right? Because success does not come easy. There's a substance that's built in, right? And, with me, that's rooted on faith, right? Faith is, one of my, the core of my very existence. And, every time that I like felt down or when I went through that, when I was in that rock and that hard place, that's where I leaned into and I, really put my faith in God, right? And he really had my back, right? And like I really also want to spend some time on tip number 6. Tip number 6 is make time for yourself. Find a hobby that has nothing, and I'll say it again, that has nothing to do with your business that you're creating. And I'll tell you this, I'm actually practicing right now to become a DJ, right? A DJ. Funny story, so I posted these tips on LinkedIn, a couple of months ago. And then, someone reached out to me and was like, hey, Jeff, can you DJ my wedding? I was like, wait. I mean, I said I was trying to be a DJ. I mean, I ain't nice. But then, that also made me realize that, oh, wow, like when I say stuff, like people really do pay attention and people do listen. But, like I want to get a little bit deeper into the making time for yourself. Your mental health is very, very, very important. And never try to make what you're building your identity. It's not. It's a part of you, but it's not your everything. It's not your core. And I said this in the last episode where in my therapy sessions, what made me very comfortable and actually what made, I believe, the business expand was when I no longer identified myself, Jeff, the person, with Gentleman's Factory. Because before I was like putting all of this pressure and I'm like, yes, this is me and I'm supposed to. Now I'm like, yo, man, I'm good, right? I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a Christian man. I'm a this, I'm a that. I play basketball periodically, you know what I mean? But in that, yes, my profession is entrepreneurship and I really want to, change the world and revolutionize the world. And I want to build physical spaces for Black men and women. And I'll speak about that when the time comes about the Ladies Factory. But, that was just a preview of where I'm going, right? But I know so my steps are ordered, right? But, there are other parts of me that I need to embrace and appreciate and explore, right? So there is a even greater creative side of me, and many people don't know this, but I used to play the keyboard. I used to play the piano back in my church boy days in my adolescence, right? So I played the piano and I was a choir director and, so musically, like I want to explore that, right? And that has nothing to do with Gentleman's Factory per se, right? Going back to hobbies, like I hike and I got into cigars. Maybe that's not the healthiest thing, but I definitely love my cigars, right? I hope my mother's not listening. She thinks that's dog. But yeah, right. So it's just having this balance, right? And, I don't know what the right balance is. And, for someone who knows it, please, help me out. But I balance things based upon what the needs are in that specific time. And please don't, write this down because I could be completely wrong, right? But, there are some, seasons where I'm balancing, family a bit more aggressively, right? Or there's some seasons that I'm balancing the business more aggressively, right? So it's just trying to see what that perfect algorithm is. And and I'll say this, whoever, and I'll say this one more time, whoever figures that out, they will be a multi-gazillionaire, because I don't think anyone has the right answer for that, right? But in that, though, making time for yourself is imperative, right? Because if you don't take care of your body and if you don't take care of yourself, then it's going to be really challenging. But then, it's going to be really hard for you to run a successful business. And quite frankly, and I'll be even more specific and very vulnerable here, right? So for the first 2 years, 3 years, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't, I got into a little depression, financially, I was very compromised. I just looked like as though I just stopped caring, right? But I was still fresh though, right? You know what I'm saying? So when y'all see the pictures, when you see the pictures of me in 2017 and 2018, I'm still fresh. But I just knew that I just felt like as though I wasn't, right? And from a health lens, I developed high blood pressure, and I have, I've been taking medication on that, for which that's not good because I'm only 36 years old, right? So 36 years old and I'm on pills, right? That's not cool, right? So it's all of those things that people don't talk enough about. And with me, I think that I make things look easy because I always have a smile on my face, and it's a genuine smile too. But at the same time, it's very challenging and it's really hard. And that's why you need to have things outside of work. And I have a rule where I don't open my laptop at home. And when I'm home, I'm home. When I'm home, I'm home. I'm home. I'm with the kids. I'm with the wife. I'm like watching Bel Air, right? Or I'm watching Billions, or I'm watching what am I watching now? I'm watching Bel Air, Billions, and Chicago Med. That's a really dope show, right? Like Chicago Med. I was watching that last night. Sports, all of those things. I'm just home and I'm just enjoying life. Because yes, you want to change the world and you want to revolutionize things, but you got to take care of your family. I speak to my parents. Like the other day, I had a conversation with my mother and both of my parents, my mother and my father, but particularly my mother, specifically my mother. And we spoke for about 4 or 5 hours. And I just kept on asking her about her childhood, why she came to America, what was the conversation like with her mother, my grandmother, who was living in the States at the time, like how much did the tickets cost? How was I, because I was born in Haiti, so I came here when I was 3 years old. How was I when I came to the States, even on the airplane ride, right? Like all of those details. And I'm asking about my grandfather and her grandfather and all of those things, right? So it's like, to be honest with you, and I'll be very transparent. When I was starting the business, I didn't care about those things. I didn't care because I was just so focused on, I need to have a strong business model, negating all of my parents. Both of my parents, negating. Just my loved ones, right? But now that I've matured and really understand like the fullness of life, and I'm cherishing every single moment, right? And business is very important, but quite frankly, if you're able to embrace fullness of life, then that will also help you with your business. Because if you're only thinking about your business, then what's going to happen is everyone around you will resent you, and they'll resent the business, and then they won't support it, right? Because if you're only thinking about your business, then what's going to happen is everyone around you will resent you, and they'll resent the business, and then they won't support it, right? Right? Subconsciously, like they would want to help you. They want to see you succeed, but they want to see you succeed. But if you're cheating on them with the business, then they'll be like, all right, business is cool, but it's taking the place of them, right? So again, really, I really want to reiterate the fact that you need a strong spiritual foundation. And you also need to make time for yourself, right? There's only 24 hours in a day, but you got to balance it out, right? Balance it out, because you only got one life to live. Drake says YOLO, right? Okay, let me stop. Yeah, all right. So again, make sure that you have the strong foundation, spiritual foundation, and you're making time for yourself. And those are my tips. That's tip number 5 and tip number 6. Thank you all so much. Wrapping it up. It's peace. All right.